Hey everyone, just doing a quick stop in. And bring it up on my phone so I can see as well. So I was getting ready to shut down for the night and thought I would just give a quick pop in. I'm not staying for long. But just thought I would quickly stop in. So I'm just going to give a minute for a few people to join in. Hello, Linda. And I'm just waiting. Hello, Mary. So I am on Facebook and YouTube, broadcasting on both, but this is a quick stop in. I just getting ready to shut down for the night. Hello, Tracy. I want to lean over like this. I'm like, I just want to lean over like this. Hello, MJ. Hello. So I want to stop in and just do a little quick chat. I just posted the weekly energy update that just went up on YouTube. So that's now available on YouTube. So you can check that out. And if you're on the subscribe list, there would have been an email sent out today as well. And yeah, and I have I have the new course, the 6-month mediumship mentorship program starting on the 16th, I think 17th of February. It is a Sunday, whatever that Sunday is. So if you're interested in signing up for that one, get yourself on the list. I don't know what it's going to be yet, but I feel like it's going to be an amazing 6 months together. Never know what the 6 months will bring, but I'm very intrigued to see what it will bring. Hello, Rebecca, Mildred, hello. So I'm not going to stay long. I just want to stop in. So, you know, I don't know who else's 2025 have been like this, but does it not feel like, and I've said this in my I think in the February, it felt like we lived a whole year in January. Like January felt like a whole year. And I think February is beginning to be the exact same way. Tonight, I felt this mad panic. Like I felt this sense of as if I was running out of time. I felt like I was overwhelmed, and it was just like hit me all of a sudden. And it's because, it's been a lot. We've had a lot. We've had a lot happening. We've been a lot of change, a lot of ups and downs, a lot of things that are going on. And I listed my weekly energy update as, is walking in faith and not in fear. That's the energy update that so far February is the same. Yeah, exactly. Rebecca, it is exactly the same. It's like I found out. So we were supposed to be able to stay in this house for like probably good 5 years, probably longer. We were hoping, but we just all of a sudden I was upstairs cleaning and I could hear people speaking downstairs, and it was my landlords who had come into my house, and they like just knocked me off my feet and just said that no, I had a little bit of a heads up by the angels earlier in the morning, but that I had to move and that they're taking back this house. And so now we have to move. Like I have to leave this house, and this house has been so much for us, and it's been such a like we love it here, and we love this house, and we love our neighbors, and now we have to move, and we have to be out by May the 1st. And of course, times are not easy for finding places to live. So that was just kind of like just thrown at us. And it's just like that one more kind of thing. But there's so many, I mean, that's minor compared to the other things that are happening in this world right now, but it's still things that you have to navigate through, right? So we're dealing with a lot of things that we have to navigate through. I mean, my heart is hurting for my friends, for my people in my life, for the world that has things that are going on, that are happening. But the one thing that I always say is it is so easy to get caught up in what is happening. It is so easy to get caught up in what's right in front of our eyes or what we're seeing. but there's often something more that's going on. There's something beyond. And so there's always something more that is taking place. And so, yeah. And so I've shared a bit about that today in the video. And I want to share a little bit about that here as well. But yeah, but that's kind of my shitty thing of the past week. And now I'm getting ready to go away. And so all of February is gone. Like, I can't really look for a place to live in February because I'm leaving for Newfoundland on Monday, and I will be in Newfoundland for over 2 weeks. And so that's period of time. So February is kind of gone. So it's basically then you have March and April to find a place to live. And I can't cancel the trip because I will not disappoint my grandchildren, because they're counting down the days that I get there. And so, yes, Mary, and causes so much hatred. Exactly. We've had so much of this divide and decisiveness, or division that's been going on, and just so much hatred, like so much that's being spread. And I live in the middle. I have this, for me, and for the way that I work and for who I am, is it's not that you don't have opinions or thoughts or views, but I always know, okay, this is happening, but there's something more. I want to see more. I want to know more. And so it's like living in the middle and not really being swayed from that middle. Um, and so not really been swaying from that place and staying in the middle. But it's hard sometimes to stay in the middle. It's hard to stay in that place. And so if you're feeling all of that, then you are so not alone. Marilyn, people are also mean. I had a man phone me screaming at me. Yes, Marilyn, exactly. Is that it's like we've been given this permission to be unkind, and we so need kindness. Like, we so need kindness. We need more kindness. And it's like, and we jump into reacting from fear. And this is the big thing it's like I try really hard to not to jump into the collective consciousness of fear. And so collective consciousness is what creates the spiral dynamics. And it's so easy to get caught up in what's happening in the world, or what's happening in a specific moment, like the Canada and US thing, like the whole tariff thing. And I'm like, if it hasn't happened, then it's not yet here. But it's so easy to become rebellious, or to become so angry and hate on things and people, and so judgmental. And I said in my yearly prediction, I said, you will see home-based businesses that create their business from home-based business people. You will see a lot of that close and shut down this year. I'm like, you will see a lot of franchises leave this year, that will end. You will see a lot of businesses kind of close their doors, or if they've been going through, you're going to see a lot of that is going to happen. This is in the energy. And because we're in a time of great change and great shifts. So one of the from the middle place within my own experience is what I noticed. What I had come up for me was the fact that this place became a sanctuary for me. Like, this home has been a sanctuary. The tree out in front of my house, I always said, I believe, probably saved my life in one of the most difficult, challenging times in my journey. And I've spent a lot of time in hibernation. I came here to heal. I had the back surgery last January. So right after, now, a week or two after the back surgery, 1 year from my back surgery, I get the notification that it's time to go. And I'm like, maybe this is pushing me to get back out and into the world. Maybe this is about me being told, okay, now you're healed, now you're resolved, now it's time to move on again. So maybe it's a move in a new direction. And so everything that feels like like everything is closing down or closing in, it also holds opportunity for growth and change, right? We have so many opportunities of growth and change. And being magnetic towards faith instead of fear it can be challenging, but there is still a lot of really good energy. And February, we're moving into, and I don't mean because Valentine's Day is coming, I don't mean that, but because of the shift in the energy, is we have this amplified like love energy. So like a direct hit from source is what it's like. We have a direct hit from source that is coming through or coming in for us, and we are being given this direct hit from source. So direct hit from the divine and divine expression that's just going to kind of that's moving us in new directions and changes. And so there is just so much that's happening. Um and so yeah, and I wanted to just stop in and I wanted to talk to you guys. I wanted to just like talk and just hear your story, like hear what's going on for you, and know that you're not, you're not alone. Whatever you're going through, you're not alone. And everyone, everyone has something, but it's not to if yours feels minor compared to somebody else's, you can't discount your experience. Your experience is still your experience, and you have to walk through that experience, but you also got to be kind to yourself through that experience and through what you are experiencing. um if you're closer, I could help. Yeah. No, I'm in central Alberta. Um, and so we are looking for a place. We're looking for a home here in central Alberta. So if anyone knows of a home, we're in Lacombe, but we are we're a little bit flexible in moving about in this area. But my husband works out of Lacombe. I work everywhere, so I have a little more flexibility. Yeah. Been going through this exact same thing for a year now. Yeah, been go. Oh, so yeah, the same comment. Um, Danielle, today was the first day back to work, and I must say my coworkers were so nice. Considering the last month and a half was a nice change for me. Yeah, exactly. Right. There's still kindness. There's still love in the world. There's still goodness. Um, thank you, Jordan. Right. I keep the news off. Exactly, Rowena. I don't turn on. So here's something I don't do. Well, I turn the TV on for my cat to watch her cat videos, like on YouTube, and she watches the cat videos. But I don't turn on the TV or turn on the news. I don't watch that stuff. And because of my channeling work too. I try to avoid that as much as I can. My husband watches it when he's home, and he's usually gone for like 5 or 6 days at a time and then home for 2 or 3 days. And those 2 or 3 days he's home, then the energy in the house is just different because, he likes to be involved and he likes to listen, but he's so open. God, he's so open. He's a very open person. He can listen to all sides of things. He don't react and respond. He don't get caught up in things. It's nice. It's nice to have that somehow. um, I feel like I have way too much on my plate to worry about tariffs and politics. Yeah, exactly, right? Yeah, exactly, Rebecca. So I did see something of where there was like this thing about taking, all the alcohol off the shelves. And I'm like, okay, you already paid for all that alcohol. What's taking it off the shelves? And this has not even happened yet. We're reacting too quickly and it's triggering fear. And so when we're triggering the fear, we become blind to everything else. When we walk in faith, we can see everything because the lights are on. When all the lights are on, we can see all sides of things. And when we walk in faith and all the lights are on, we can see all the way around and we can see everything. And we open up to everything instead of walking into that tunnel vision, right? Instead of walking in that direction. And yeah, and when we got so much on our plates, I mean, so that's kind of the things become the least of our worries. And we've had a lot of things happening. I just had back surgery 4 weeks ago, a fusion. The recovery sucks. Oh, Mary. So yeah, Mary, like, so I had a spinal fusion done last January, and it was my S1 L5, and my 4 and 3 also were a part of the surgery as well. And when they went in to do the surgery, my spine had collapsed down over my S1. And so they had to kind of jack me up. And yeah, the recovery sucks. It's definitely a challenging recovery, but it is so worth it. And every week, I always say every week you could feel a difference. but it teaches you about how to be kind to yourself. And the spine is like opening up a time capsule. And when you can energetically feel that it's like opening up a time capsule. So I'm a year in. Oh my God, Kevin, I just seen your post right before I came in. I'm going to talk about your post. And so, um, and so, yeah, Mary, it's, it is a big surgery. It's a big recovery, but I'm like, it is still, I don't regret it for a moment. It gave me back a quality of life that I didn't know I didn't know I could ever get back again. And so, yeah, it's worth it. So I'm praying for you and your recovery and that you have a good recovery, Mary. Um, Yes, social media, social media. And I always say, like, I'm not an influencer. That's not what I signed up for. I'm not a circus act. I'm like, I'm not the circus act. And when you can see life sometimes as, it's like you're put on this display, like you're supposed to perform and you're supposed to act, and you're like who's leading the puppet strings, right? It's like who's guiding who's holding the puppet strings and who's holding the whip. And it's like, I'm not here to be no circus act. That's not, it's like, I love to share, I love to give, and, I love to be able to come in here. But it's like that influencer part of it, or just always looking for content. And I heard a really good one. So, like, this is the illusions of some of the social media stuff. This is me. I'm watching turtles. So I'm watching videos about turtles and goats, and I'm watching a video about turtles. And the man who saves these turtles had this turtle that saved, who's now 70 years old. And for 50 years, this turtle was taken out of the woods and it was living in this horrible situation, and it's been rescued. But he was shown another video and he said, like, those barnacles that can be on the back of turtles that you see in those videos, like on TikTok or wherever. And he says they say they find these turtles and their whole back is covered in these barnacles. He said, no, you know what people started to do? They start to pick up turtles and super glue barnacles onto the back of turtles, and then start plucking them off with a knife, and turtles can feel everything through that shell, and causing the turtle great pain just so they could make a video and get people to watch. So it is an illusion. And our world is so filled with illusions and half-hearted truth. And so it's not true. He said, like, see this little barnacle? Like, this turtle has this one little barnacle. I'm not going to touch it. It'll fall off. It'll shuffle itself off. So all of these barnacles that were being glued onto two turtles just for people to make social media videos. So put that in perspective into life, right? How many things are created from clickbaits or little tiny pieces just to get us to react and respond, triggering our fight or flight, triggering our captivations. And so it all is a part of the imitation. And so there's all of these illusions that are out there, and those illusions are so easy to get caught up in. And I'm like, I don't want to be a part of that. I have no desire to be a part of that. I don't want to be that. That's not anything I ever want to be. And if I have to be that, I'd rather not do any of things that I do. Simple as that. I'd rather just not. Right? It is appalling. I know. See the things we learn? I don't hate, appreciate, much love to you, my friend. I love you, Kevin. Kevin is such a sweet, wonderful person. Like, amazing. Kevin, so before I came in, Kevin, I actually seen your post, and it was Marilyn had shared a book with you. I have those cards. And so, yeah, I have those cards from years ago. Like, that book has been around for so many years. I'm glad that you found that book. I was just wondering if I have the cards upstairs, but I don't. The cards are downstairs. I have shelves of cards, like shelves. I don't really buy a lot anymore, but yeah. Hello, everyone who's joining in. I am going to pull a card. I just talking. So happy that you're here too. So hello, everyone. We're just talking about, like, I just had this overwhelming. I was shutting down. Just shutting down for the day. I've had a busy day. I've worked my butt off today. But I just feel like I was just getting shutting down, and I could feel this overwhelming pressure. And then I'm like, I need to go in and talk about this a little bit. I need to go in and just talk about this energy and talk about, what we're existing in and how much how much is happening, and how much we get bits and pieces, and how much hate and how much divide we have, but we also have a lot of love. We also have a lot of love. So my weekly energy, I do speak about love. And I'm like, if we walked with faith and not fear, if we could cultivate from a place of love and not from fear, our world would be a much better place. And so there is a lot of things that are happening. People are going through a lot. I have a lot of people in my own life now that are going through, some of the most difficult, challenging situations in their lives. Me being kind of booted out of my house, or me having to leave this home is, I know it's minor, but it's just one of those things that just keeps coming up, right? Like that we're all being pushed. We're all ascending. We're all changing. Things are changing. Um, and things are changing around us. And so we have a lot that's happening. So I will share a card with that though. But I also have my mediumship 6-month mentorship coming up, and I'm so excited for this class. So I'm going to share one of my. So I was supposed to be teaching more than existing in like a new level 1, and I always have people sign up for level 1 of more than existing whenever I launch it and it happens. Um, this is truth about life. That course didn't go ahead. Why? Because I had one person sign up, and so I couldn't teach it with one person. But it was something else that was just like, it was a whole month of that January where I just felt like, is this worth continuing? Is this worth keeping doing this work? Is this worth doing? Like, and you just have those ups and downs moments. And then I had February coming, and I had the mentorship program. And then, of course, people started to sign up for that one. And then I'm like, okay, all right, you keep going again. You keep going again. And something keeps moving us. And when we live from that place of, I guess, faith, is like we have our down days. Everyone has their down days. Everyone just kind of gets to that point where you're just like, I just don't want to, can I do this again? But something keeps moving us, and something keeps us going, and something keeps us moving in the direction of when we're choosing to live by that divine purpose, that divine faith, and it just keeps us moving. But every one of us, we could look like we got the world happening and everything's in place and we're living our best life, but everyone has something that's happening behind the scenes. And it's like we can look at other people's lives and see and compare our lives to theirs based on what we think they're living, but we really don't know what people are living, and we don't know what people are going through. And so only look into your own life, only look at what's happening within your own space. It is so important. Busy day, and just sat down to take a few minutes for myself. Check Facebook, and of course, they found your life. Perfect. Um, perfect. Okay, so I'm, like I said, I look like crap. But I did want to stop in. So let's go to some collective cards that I can give for each and every one of you, so that you can maybe these cards will help resonate with you today. You can listen to my weekly energy update too. That is on YouTube. The upside of my life is I know it's now not the great time, but I'm going to see my grandchildren. I cannot wait to see my grandbabies. I'm going to be flying into Newfoundland on Monday, so I will be in Buckens. I will be home for 2 weeks. Have no direction in my life at the moment, and a tough one to navigate through. Sometimes, Rebecca, we're meant to be lost. Sometimes we are meant to be lost. Sometimes we're not meant to have a direction. It's like, and the direction, the way will appear again. That's actually my next book. My next book is called The Way. We are actually editing it right now. I wrote this back when I lived in Leduc, and I've said it's not written by me. It is definitely written by God, and it's about the virtues, and it's about the way, and it's the way. And so sometimes we just have to wait for the way to appear again. And when the way appears, then we walk that way, and we move that way, and we go in that direction. Okay. Whoa. The awakening. We pulled Delilah. And so we have Delilah, the awakening. Now she is a maiden. And I think many of us feel like we may be in a maiden zone, a maiden period of our lives. We're in the beginning of something, or the ending of something has just happened. And so I always say, like, she still has her feet in the water. She hasn't fully let go. So she hasn't fully released that connection to her emotions, but she's very aware and she's opening up. And so all of those beautiful white little threads that we see going up, that is the appearance of spirit. And that is the appearance of something of a divine, and that divine wraps around us. Love wraps around us. The angels, the guides, they wrap around us. And the guardians are always with us and they wrap around us. So love wraps around us. And if you could see and connect and feel how powerful the spirit of love is, and the spirit and how powerful spirit is when it comes in to help move us into life, and how we are so divinely protected. um she does. Delilah is pops up. She pops up a lot. So might be a little sign for you here. And she is also the card that speaks of, that she doesn't have to do things the way that you're being told you have to do things, or the way you're being told you have to live. And that she's choosing to live her way, but she's not quite there yet. And why is she not there is because she still has, like, the thoughts coming in or the judgments coming in, and she hasn't yet fully moved away and hasn't fully left that energy. And I sometimes get a little bit of flack when I say this sometimes, and I'm like, you do know our ancestors, when they were on earth, they had what they knew, but they didn't know everything. And that they weren't always everything that was there wasn't the only way. And in spirit, they often come back to tell us, don't get so stuck in doing everything by tradition or by the way that we said that it need to be done. We have learnt from the other side because we moved into a place of divine knowledge. To leave behind the human is to move into spirit, and we have a divine knowledge over here. So we can see all sides of things, and we can see that we were limited on earth. So we're guiding you to maybe expand your consciousness, your level of consciousness, your level of awareness, to open up and not to be so trapped in, the old ways or the way things are, and that we're here to grow, we're here to evolve. And that includes the past versions of yourself. It's like, we're here to grow beyond who we were yesterday. We're here to grow beyond who we were when we were, say, 20 and now we're 50. We're here to keep that growing, but we're here to do things in the way that feels right, and being able to listen to that feeling of doing right. If you've been feeling this one, good. And so she is also a 9 card, and we're in the year of the 9. So she's been popping up for a reason, because this is like a maiden journey. And we are in that energy, but there's a contentment here. There's a sense of peace here. And she's not looking directly at anyone, she's looking into the reflection. And so this is a pivotal time to really look into our own reflection, and not to look into the reflection of others, to kind of create that emotional response that we're looking for. It's like, well, this person is ruining these people are ruining my life. Like let's just say, looking into politics, like, that person and what they're doing is ruining. And I'm like, no, we're ruining our moments, because we came here to be alive, and we came here to live. And so we got all of these hours in a day. And if we spend all of these hours in the day living in fear, hate, envy, jealousy, then we're living in the darkness. We're not living in our own light, and we're not living in our own truth. And so this is about the evolution. So Delilah, if we look at Delilah, where I got Delilah originally from was the story of Samson. It's the story with Delilah and Samson in the biblical journey of seeing the stories, right? And so the avatars and the creation of stories. And so Delilah would have made a choice because she was feared into making a choice and decision that went against her own belief or what she loved. So she turned away from love and turned towards fear, and when she turned towards fear, it caused a lot of destruction and chaos, and it cost her everything that she loved. Well, she was in her head thinking that she was going to save everything that she loved by turning against. And so this is about turning back to love, and that return back to love, and returning ourselves inward and back into love within ourselves. And so yeah, Michelle loves this card. As I just seen Michelle pop up. Okay. And I hope to get back in. I hope I'll get back in like sometime over the weekend. I'm going to try to get back in so that I can come in and pull cards and do some cards. And maybe Michelle can join me. Maybe Michelle will be available and she can come in with me too. And we can pull some cards for people and do some readings. But I just want to, let you know, like, we're not alone in this. We're not alone in this. And we're all exist in the same world. We're all in the same world. We're all experiencing the world different, and everyone has a different view of reality. Everyone's reality is a little bit different, and we all have something different that we, the way that we see things, the way that we feel things. This is a card we haven't gotten in a while. I love this card. So this is the innocence grace, that return to innocence. I just got that. What is that song? I think it's an Enya song. And it's like, and I feel like it's like Return to Innocence is the name of the song or something like that. But that just popped in my head. So this is card 1. And so we're still in maiden energy, but it is that new beginning. It's grace. And when we can show ourselves grace, and we can show other people grace, it's like grace holds the power of mercy. And so it holds the ability for us to be able to surrender. And when we can surrender into that which we cannot change, and that we can activate our beautiful divine expression or our innocence again. And we're innocent until somebody tells us we're not. But it's like when we can find that innocence, that innocent quality again, that helps return us to purity and to pure thought. Oh, you got volleyball this weekend. Yes. And so, yes. And so see how she's standing, see the beautiful yellow. This is our solar plexus, our will. And so, so many things in our lives are within our control, even though there's so many things out of our control. But there is a lot in our world that is in our control. And one of them is how we react, how we respond, what we allow to take us away from our inner peace and pull us away from being at peace. And so we are here to create our own inner peace. And she just has this beautiful essence about her. My granddaughter has a poster of this in the bedroom here in the house. So she actually called me and said, Nana, can you bring home my picture of me when I was a baby? She's 4.5. Can you bring this home for me? Because that's my picture, remember? Remember, that was me when I was a baby. So this card, magic happens everywhere. This card was created the day she was born, but Amelia, the artist, had no idea that Sadie was born. And she created this card the day Sadie was born from, our conversations around what this card would be. And so, we all have a level of innocence. And when you can find your innocence again, you stop being so triggered by guilting yourself into jumping into action. and jumping into responding to everything. There's just so many things that this card represents. If you were to look at this card right now, if you were to really look at her, what does this card versus this card speak to you? What does this say to you? And both are, so this would be the inner child, and this would probably be the young adult or the teenage like energy. You know, what do they say to you? What do you feel when you look at those cards? And when you can think back to how much was in your control as a child and what you could control, when the whole world was screaming around you and life was happening around you, you could probably go, your escape might have been go play or go do whatever, and because you couldn't change it. But there's just so much that speaks about this is a year and a time of where we will see a lot of the shadow work, the inner child healing, all of this happening. And it's pushing us out of our comfort zone. We are being pushed up and out of our comfort zone. Crazy. I was literally talking about going with a beginner's heart yesterday. Yeah. And that's it, Vanessa. It is, I wake up every day and I always say, I live every day as if I know nothing and I have everything to learn today. And I learned something new. And I watched a really good documentary the other night. And I've had many moments about the documentary after. And it was a documentary about Will Ferrell and, oh, shoot. And it was his best friend, and his best friend transitioned, um, and changed her name. Oh, what was but they went on a trip to get to kind of know each other, and I just it was just such a good documentary. And I don't usually watch a lot of things, but I love documentaries. And it was really good, and I so enjoyed it. And perspectives are everything. And I could feel the sadness, and I could feel the joy, and I could feel the changes and the transitions, and as things were happening in the friendship, as the friendship was changing and evolving, and so this kind of is what these cards kind of remind me of, is that we are constantly also changing and transitioning through many versions of ourselves throughout life, but we hold on to, or other people hold on to, the versions of what we once were, or the way things are, and we settle in and we get comfortable in it. And then when change happens, we feel so disrupted, we feel invaded, we feel like it's personal. But often it's not personal, it's just change is happening, and people are awakening, or we're shifting, and we're transitioning, and we're moving, and we start to find these new versions of ourselves, or finally find what we love and what we like. And that is a part of the way, is finding that way that really does that align to me. And sometimes some of the things that we fight against are the things that we actually support more than you possibly know. So we are in a beginner mind. We are in so much of a beginner mind in so many ways. Let's go with card number 3, where that just came from. Imperfectly perfect. Gemma, she comes out a lot too. And she's buckled up and she's bent. I did this to this card, on not on purpose, but I did it. So imperfectly perfect, Gemma. And see, these same threads are in each card, but they've gotten thicker. So they've gotten thicker because there is a level of acceptance. And acceptance, when we start to be able to live more from who we are as spirit, and not of who we are from the persona that we have created, the identity we've created, but more from our authenticity, more from our truest expression of ourselves, is that the more that we step into our own light, and the more we're in our own light, and the more we're living as that light, is that, of course, reflecting back at us is then everything that tests and challenges us to move away from our little imperfections that are now perfect for us. And so it's like we're always being kind of guilted into some way, whether it's from our own mind or from the world, to go back or to think that we have to perfect life or create some sort of life or find some sort of purpose. We're not here to find purpose. We're here to live on purpose. And the more that we find self, the more that we begin to live on purpose. And that's how happiness begins to find us, right? That's how we activate the joy within ourselves. So we have a lot of color happening here. And the reason why is because we have a lot of spirit with us tonight. We have a lot of spirit with us, and there's a lot of spirit around us. And we have a lot of our connection to spirit world that is just so active and so present. And today when I was recording, I could see the thrones and the wheels in the angels. And so in the angels, we have these hierarchy of angels, and then we have these uh, names that are that go with the disciplines. And so we have, some of them are wheels and some of them are thrones, and they all have different purposes, and everything comes. So some come in to kind of clear the energy and clear the way. And that is what is happening, is like we're just drilling through this new time, this new energy. And we have some shifts happening that are coming up. um, we have some shifts happening that are coming up that we have never ever seen in our lifetime. And as far back, and I know the astrologer Pam Gregory, she had a video about this, and she said as far back as she could check and see, she has never ever, she's not been able to track some of this planet alignment for as far as she could see. So some of this shifts that's happening, which brings in new connection in identities, she's never ever seen. Like, we just got so much, and we have a lot of solar flares happening right now tonight. You may be feeling your body, you may have extra aches, you may have like extra pains going on, and some of that is this light, it's the resonant sound. It is the light that's coming in, and so you can feel this kind of ascension energy that is around us. um Karen, what did you say? When you say finding self, what could that ever look like? I'm still learning. So, Karen, this is what I tell people when I'm teaching this. It's a lot. There's a lot of things, but it's first and foremost, you got to break up with the you that you create, right? I'm like, you got to break up with yourself. You got to break up with the self that creates all of our protection and all of the to-do lists that we have, and really questioning our own values, our own beliefs, and being willing to question self. And so finding self is recognizing that we all wear masks. We all play in the roles that we are, and that we're not the roles. The roles are simply the roles. And so when I ask people, what they are and who they are, if I were to ask people to write like that list, and people will always list their duties and their roles that they play as who they are. And that's not who you are. That's not at all who you are. We are a spiritual being having a human experience. And so but we're so much more. And so I always say, well, where are you? But where are you in there? Well, I'm a mother, I'm a mom, I'm a businesswoman, I'm a this, I'm a that. That's the I am. That's what you become. That's what you do. But where are you? Where are you? And so finding self really truly becomes breaking down and breaking free of all of the expectations, all of those parts of self, and just asking yourself, if I could truly be me, what would that look like? And if your mind starts to create a narrative and starts to create a story, then once again, we're creating a character. It's when we can move away from creating an identity and allowing ourselves to see ourselves in the light, see ourselves without having to create a narrative and a story, and to be able to feel yourself, to feel your own heart, to feel the essence of you, to feel what it is that truly makes makes you you. And so finding that self comes right back to, we come with our personality that's a part of our true identity. But the more we step back and we observe ourselves, is that we can see how we've created the identity of ourselves, or the persona of ourselves, through the reflection of the thoughts or the conditioning programming that has been already fed to us. And when we deprogram and we break all that down, we kind of find it. And in the end, I'm like, it's funny because some of the things that we try to run away from is some of the qualities that are innate to us, like our innate qualities. There's parts about myself I'm like, God, I thought after all this work, this part of me would so be gone. But here she is. And so it wasn't about changing it. It came back to accepting that part of myself, being okay with those parts of self, and not having to give it a title, not having to add more certificates onto it, not having to be anything for anyone. But it becomes a radical self-acceptance of the self that is beyond the roles, the identities that we become because we thought we needed to become. And so there's a real rawness in there. And so the version of myself that I can say is finding myself, that would barely be the truest for me, was um how do I put this? What would I say would be one of those things? Was that I've always been I'm going with this, and I don't mean this in an arrogant way, like, at all. I've always been an extremely considerate person. And I've always been kind. And that part of the kindness, when you put always in there, I have to look at the fact that, okay, there's times when I probably wasn't kind, but who was I not kind to? And it's like, so I'm not being kind to everyone. It's like, no, I wasn't always kind to my mother. I wasn't always kind probably to my father. I wasn't always kind to other people. It's not that kind of kind. What I mean by being kind, when I could break all that down and set myself free of punishing myself, was that I always consider everyone around, and making I can read the room very well. So I would always be trying to make everyone feel welcome, and I want everyone to feel welcome. And that is a part of myself that's not just because of the fact that I felt like I didn't fit in or belong. It's natural. That's a natural part of self. And so recognizing that within self is also recognizing how we can take things to the extremes, or how we can get lost in the shadow aspect of that. So what is the shadow that's living your life, and what is the truest version of you? So our shadow becomes the resentment, the bitterness, the hurt, the envy, the jealousy, all of that part, or the just being fucking forgotten, the being forgotten, being not seen, being picked at, being mocked. And so you lose those parts of that true self. And finding the true self through that is recognizing you got to do the shadow work. Put it that way. You got to do the shadow work. And so that's probably one of the ways that I can explain that to you, that I hope that somehow makes some sense. But it's so many pieces, and my brain is like in like shutting down mode, so it's hard to bring it in. But yeah, like that's one of the ways, is finding self, is that somewhere in there, beyond titles, beyond roles, beyond creating a description of the self, there's something that you can feel. And when you can feel it within, and so, the parts about myself that I'm like, oh my God, I am so imperfect. I am like, so one of my innate qualities about myself is I am a hot freaking mess sometimes, right? It's like, and so it's only complicated. So it's only complicated, Karen, because we have complicated life. It's so much simpler. And when we step in to do the work, it becomes simpler. It's just removing all the complications that have made it complicated. Removing all the chaos, removing all the shoulda, coulda, wouldas, removing all the guilt, all the shame. So moving beyond all of that and moving um, past the moving past the I guess the pride, moving beyond pride, and making the changes to really become a part of, so radical honesty, radical self-acceptance, and it's actually called self-actualization. So that's why in the work it's called self-actualization, is you start to actualize, you start to be able to bring you into creation, you start to be able to see you through everything else. For me, it was in all of these were shadows. They started as shadows, and I could see the shadow of myself through each and every one of those, through the paintings. So there's a version of us that we were told we could never ever be. And that version of yourself that you're told you could never ever be, you could never be, you could never be that of, say, the divine. And in Wine and Chips, I speak about this one. In Wine and Chips, because it's Wine and Chips is about the shadow. So in Wine and Chips, I speak about the one version of us that we're told we could never be. You could never be as good as say Jesus. You could never be as good as the angels. You could never be as good as this. But and so we're always told that we are somewhat bad and that we can never be that good. And it's because we have created these pedestals, and we've been fed perfection, and that there's this perfection, and only if we're so good can we be that level of. And so finding self is in really finding the perfection and recognizing, what if I am that good? What if I was already that good? And we moved away from that innocence or that belief, and because we believe there's no way we could maintain that. It's just we got to stop looking at ourselves as being a problem, and that we're not a problem, that there's more already right about us. There was a lot right about us, and more right about us than there was wrong. And that everything that we're told that is a problem and that we have to change about ourselves may possibly be where your gifts hide. That's what they just give me to share with you, Karen. There. So, maybe those parts of yourself that you think are a problem is maybe you just are in the wrong place to let the true self be exposed or to be seen. That's what I got. And I hope that answers a lot for everyone else too. I'm like, I might have a whole different answer if I'm channeled in for you, but that's what I got for you now. Okay. It's just been a long journey to finding self. I wrote all of these books to come back to this, Yeah. Okay. I just want to end with a last card. So this is a validation card to everything that we have. And we're going to want to know a secret to a life of more than existing. And so here's our card. There are consequences. Oh, this is the card. This is the card that's actually in the weekly energy update. I pulled this card in the very end of the weekly energy update. This is the same card today. There are consequences of cheating yourself out of your truth. Justifying dishonest behavior is not okay, even if it is your own. Cheating another out of a truth does not make a wrong a right. It is essential to always be true to yourself and your values. Don't let the fear of failure or disappointment lead you down the path of cheating yourself out of your own needs. Every action has consequences. Radical, kind honesty is a virtue. And so, cheating another out of a truth or treating ourselves out of a truth is being honest in the moments of where, and kind honesty of where we want to tell a lie, like when we don't want to tell a truth, because sometimes truths are so hard to be able to face, and truths are so hard to be able to tell sometimes. And when you start to tell yourself truths and you start to reveal those truths to yourself, then it becomes easier to be honest with others as well. And some of those truths are simple things like, I'm not really, I'm not really feeling this way. This is not what I'm feeling. Um, and this is not what I have happening right now. But it doesn't mean, like in a relationship, it's like, it's like, oh, I'm not in love every day. It's like there's love, but I'm not in love every day. And love is not there. And so it's like, I don't have this every day. And so those truths and how we tell ourselves those truths begins with, just saying, why do I believe that? Do I really believe that to be true? Or was that somebody else's truth that was repeated to me over and over and over again, their beliefs, their values, and what they believed? And and I accepted it. And if I stop accepting their truth as my truth, then I can find my own truth. And so sometimes it is not so easy to find your own truth when you only live in a world that you are existing in everyone else's truth. So sometimes you got to be willing to question the truths, question all those truths that became your truth for too long, so that you can ask yourself, is that my truth? Do I believe that to be true? Because you could be cheating yourself out of knowing something that is about yourself, or a truth, or a new truth that may be like something that just changes your mind, or makes a shift in your life and just changes the projection and the direction of which you travel, or how you show up in relationships. Radical honesty, it is a virtue, and we water it down to exist in half-hearted truths. That's what I got for you. That's what I'm ending this night on. I'm like, holy. Sure did. Good. All right. So thank you for coming in for this Mad Hatter night. This is a little bit of a Mad Hatter. This was a Mad Hatter. And I'm like, I turned the heat up in my house, and now I'm like melting because the upstairs was so cold. But now I'm like, I'm just like suffering. So I have to turn the heat down. And if you're having those little rushes of energy happening right now, and it feels like it's actually emotions, it's not emotions all the time. And it's not always anxiety. It's not always those things that, now I'm not saying you don't have anxiety, but sometimes those rushes that you're feeling is rushes of energy, and not emotions. We attach emotions to it. So be aware that sometimes there's just energy that's moving through, energy that's pushing through. You may be feeling the push through, the collective energy that is happening, and recognizing collective energy versus the divine expression energy, the energy that is out there moving us, and allowing yourself to move through that. What if, I'm going to give you this because this is in one of my other books. This is in one of my books that I wrote in these books. What if your anxiety is actually enthusiasm, but you don't know that higher level of emotions to be able to distinguish between anxiety and enthusiasm? Because what if the things that you feel are like, oh, I got this anxious energy in my chest. What if that anxious anxiety that you're calling anxiety, maybe like in certain circumstances, but what if it is an enthusiasm? What if it's an excitement that is trying to ignite within you, because it is saying there is something that is unfolding, or something that's coming that's actually good, but we're so used to going to the bad and going to the fear that we're not used to going to excitement and enthusiasm. So we don't check in with those emotions, because we check in with the lower expression of our emotions. Something to think about. Think about that one, because I wrote that in this book. And this book is called Steps to Living Your Best Self. It was the book that I wrote about living as if I was already there. And so living as you're already there is a way to start moving into the things in life that you really want to see happen, and just feeling the energy and feeling the excitement as if you're already there. So what if the anxiousness is actually enthusiasm or excitement, and you're not used to checking in with those emotions because you're only used to tapping into and going to the lower expressions of emotions that comes from the gut. It comes from the sacral, because that's where we create those emotions from. And that's a habit that we have. And to move beyond that habit is to heal and resolve the things so that we can rise up and start to activate emotional intelligence so that we can grow emotionally and spiritually. That's what I got for you. So thank you. Have a beautiful evening, everyone. A night. And I will be chatting to you soon. I love you all. I'm sending you so much love, and just know you're not alone. And there, there's so much that's happening. Ask for support, reach out to people, let people into your life and into your world. Don't shut down and hide away, because there's nothing to be ashamed of in saying that, you know what, I'm a hot mess today, or I'm going through something, and I just need someone else to be there to just kind of talk this through with me. So have a beautiful night, and I will chat with you soon. Bye-bye.